It's a chair every musician, artist, composer, and producer wants to be sitting in. On February 4th, 2024, Carla Patullo found herself sitting in that very chair, waiting. Then her category was announced and her name called. The Grammy was for Best New Age, Ambient, or Chant Album. The win that night found Carla with a plethora of mixed emotions. Knowing what this could mean for her career was one thing, but the reason behind the album win was far more profound. Most people didn't know the full backstory of the album So She Howls. For Carla, years of healing came with that small, coveted golden trophy. Years of fight, years of struggling to find resilience, and years of reclaiming oneself manifested in that most beautiful and extraordinary way on that stage that night as Carla said her thank yous to those who held her hand along the way. Today, we welcome the incredible Carla Patullo to Conversations, a time to chat, to learn, to feel, and to heal. And we do it with the music. Let's start a conversation, shall we? Oh, we got to talk about that.
If we're going down, put your mask on first before you can help anyone else.
I'm about to spit out my coffee.
Some people call that a crisis of faith, wondering what trajectory your life is going to take.
Welcome to Unconditionally Her Conversations, a podcast for women that sets the stage to spark inspiration, create change, and unite women from all walks of life. I'm your host, Karen Shane. This podcast shares that when we truly come together in sisterhood, we form a symphony of profound voices that have the power to transform each other's lives. So whether you're in search for motivation to chase your dreams, or seeking wisdom to navigate life's twists and turns, or just simply yearning to connect with some kindred spirits, well, you've found the place. Come along on this empowering journey as we explore captivating stories, conquer daunting challenges, and revel in the inspiring triumphs that shape the landscape of women's lives. Are you ready? Here we go.
The Grammy goes to So She Howls. Carla Patullo, featuring Tonality and the Social Quartet.
Did you actually hear those words?
She was very funny, Patty Austin, because she howled when she said "So She Howls," and I just couldn't believe it. I think I was already in disbelief for a few months leading up to it, but I had my entire family with me, and it was unreal. And they were like, "This is really happening."
I have watched that video several times. It's like half the audience walked on stage with you. It was glorious. And see the excitement when they called your name. And I'm always curious. And everybody says, so what did that feel like? I really want to know where you were in the moment, that deep part of you, right?
Yeah. I mean, this album just grew. And the community with it grew. It came, I think that was a really beautiful thing that happened. It was, started basically in isolation during COVID when I was going through breast cancer. And it just grew. And it started about my personal journey. But then, a lot of people who are around me, especially like the women who have gone through this particular part of breast cancer, I just felt them with me. I felt this, I just felt community around me. Yeah. And so I just had this deep feeling. I didn't know I was going to win.
They really don't tell you.
They really don't tell you. I had no idea. They really don't tell you anything. And I was so surprised. There's been milestones in my career where I'm excited about something, but this was so personal. And this was so not just about me. I just knew if something were to come of this, I needed to represent or bring the community with me, or just feel that and just thank the people that got me through it,
I can't wait to continue to share that in this podcast. And this is why I wanted us to come together, because I live in Nashville. So I'm in this music community. We hear the song, but we don't always know the story. And
Story behind it, yeah.
Nashville has taught me the blessing of understanding the story, of understanding the room, of understanding picking up the mic and making words from the page come to life and ultimately change lives down the road. But I want people to understand through this podcast the depth of, yes, that little trophy that you got is so impactful in a career. But for you, it meant so much more. But before we get into that, I want to rewind time just a little bit. I want to talk about young Carla. I want to talk about growing up. I find your story so interesting and so profound because you had such powerful influences in and surrounded, you call it your community, but this was your family. So take me back all the way back as far as you want to go.
Yeah. So my parents immigrated from Italy to Massachusetts, and my mom immigrated first with her parents and then went back to Italy and met my dad. They came from a very small town, and they really never had the opportunity to study music. I mean, they were basically farmers. But it was just really amazing because my mom came here with all this ambition to live the American dream, basically. And she was such a creative person that she wanted to find her way and do something that really satisfied her, I think, her creativity. And so she ended up coming here and eventually opening her own hair salon. And then my grandparents watched us a lot because my dad also opened a restaurant eventually. And so they were very busy. But my mom always had that passion for writing music, and later had told me about how she had written songs and submitted it to contests, but just never really had the opportunity to fully dive into it. My grandmother was very musical, as in she would sing all the folk songs, Italian folk songs, every night. She would have us, kind of like our bedtime, me and my sister, our bedtime singing lullabies. But she would come in and there would always be a story, and she would ask us, to record her. And so we would record her. And she just said to me, I want you guys, once I pass on, I want you to have this. I want you to remember me this way. And that really stuck with me. And actually, that was really a big part of So She Howls in the end. The inspiration behind that. Yeah.
She was basically your first musical influence, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you believe at that point she inspired you to create almost your own genre of music? You talk about it being folk for her, and you hear that in the tonalities throughout your record.
Yeah.
What guided you down this path?
I think, her way of telling stories and music, I think that to me is what really resonated. I feel personally very fluid through genres. I try to not let the restriction of certain genres keep me in a place. And I think that's been very good for me. But the people who these songs are about, the stories, the connection, how we connect to it as people, I think this is what I found so moving about my grandmother. And I know, I knew then that I wanted to do something like that. I wanted to share stories and connect with people.
Just a little bit of your resume for those who are listening. You began with a rock band.
Yeah.
Like Sandra Bernhard. I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Sandra Bernhard. There's so much accolades to the wide span of musical abilities that you have, but not only are you a Grammy winner, the composer for film, for television, really acclaimed films. You're just amazing. And then you are Sundance Film Music and Sound Lab alumni and four-time Hollywood Music and Media Award nominee. Okay, not one, but four. And then you've even been recognized with two of your scores being presented at the Academy of Motion Pictures and Sciences Museum. Okay, that's a resume, sister.
It's funny, like life takes you to some of these unexpected areas. I'll start with Sandra. She's someone I met a few years after my mother passed. But she was someone that I grew up adoring as, this woman who is out and just such a figure for the LGBTQ community, but also she was just so cool. And she still is. I love Sandra. And for me, it was such a great connection to meet with her, to work with her, and to be friends. We're actually working on a tune together now. So it's been a relationship through the years that has been, I think it goes deeper than just we work together. I think she's just a person in my life that, landed. We met for a reason. And I don't think it's just like this work thing. I think she's been a wonderful figure.
One thing I say on this podcast constantly is there are no coincidences in life.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about your mom because you had such a heartbreak and you were young.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom, she passed away in a car accident. And I was 20, in my 20s when it happened, early 20s. But it was unexpected and obviously, and it really caused a lot of just heartache and just even just trying to figure out. I was at a point in my life where I was really trying to figure out where I was going, what I was going to do. And, when you lose like a mom or parent, like, you go through the years and you kind of have these conversations with yourself about where you are now in life and what they would have thought. And I actually just watched a wonderful movie, if I may say, about called All of Us Strangers. I watched it earlier this year and it really hit me because I just was able to relate with that and the relationship of, I don't know, where to put your mom, where do I put my mom in these things that are happening in my life and feeling her presence. I mean, it was something I've always felt since she passed, which, I've been really, grateful to have that feeling of connection. But I think that's not a coincidence either. I think my mom kind of instilled that in me. And yeah,
You had amazing women that hold you in spirit, even after they were gone. And oh my goodness, I think about the pride that they have of you right now. And not just, and again, I don't speak of just the little trophy. I speak of your accomplishments and your character and your perseverance. And it just amazes me that you have gone through what you've gone through. And that kind of brings me to, you were diagnosed with breast cancer at what age?
I was 40. Yeah. Yeah. And it was my first mammogram, and
wow.
Complete shock again. No one in my family really has gone through breast cancer. So I just really didn't expect it. And it was right before COVID. And there were a lot of difficulties because of COVID too, that it made the matter complicated as far as treatment.
I was in healthcare for many years and my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer February 20th, 2020. And
Gosh.
it was chaos. I couldn't go with her.
Yeah.
I couldn't be there. I could not participate in her therapy as a daughter would want. And my dad, they're not young whippersnappers. And my dad, he was just doing the best he could and to get her where he needed to go. And we were very grateful that she was very successful with her treatments and the surgery. But man, there were times I couldn't go see her. I mean, when we went on lockdown, I was stuck and my heart was broken. And so I was on the other side and you were in it, and I just, my mom just being lonely and it just was such a terrible, terrible time. How did you navigate that?
I will say, like, from my perspective, I just felt so lucky that the family that I have is really amazing. My partner really helped, like, was my rock, and her family and my family, my siblings. It's just very that makes everything. And when you go through something like this, and I have to say, like, you start to become a very grateful person. because, it's all taken away from you. So your health is attacked, like, that's everything, like having that. And so you really appreciate everything. And I think I was very lucky too with my treatment, in the sense that it was a long treatment, but I was very lucky that there were these new things for me. And so step by step, the gratitude just kept building, and I still feel it today, every time life creeps in and there's something that frustrates me or brings me down. I'm just like, but I don't have cancer right now. So let's get over it, Carla, you know?
Yeah, I totally understand that. There is a gratitude, there is an appreciation, there is a different view on life that you have
Yeah.
once you've gone through something, but you have to allow it to be a
You
part
have
of
to allow it. Yeah.
have to allow it. And I think that's what I'm so impressed with you, because you allowed it. And I was listening to another podcast that you did, and you were talking about, of course, this is during the time that So She Howls was born, and
Yeah.
how hard it was for you to pick up a mic, how hard it was
Yeah.
to plug in. So take me back there. You were diagnosed.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you were diagnosed with triple positive breast cancer. And
Yeah.
this means it was not only hormonal, but you were also HER2
Her
positive.
two paths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a standard of care basically now, but nonetheless, it's still a very, very difficult road. Your journey consisted of surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation.
Hmm.
However, you state that you feel lucky, calling the physical journey tough, but the emotional journey even tougher, leaving you with questions of your health every day. And you
Yeah.
said in an interview that you feel that you are far more healthier now than you were before. And you grew so
Yeah.
much that it affected your music in a positive way. And I think that is when we can circle in, because this is what I want people to really know, that this became your journey, your music became your life career, and thus far one of your greatest achievements, next to your
Yeah.
family. I want to get that in there. I don't want anybody mad at me.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, take me back to creating this
Yeah.
album and during this time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it basically, I had an idea of an album before I got diagnosed. I was working with some themes actually about my mom and grief. And then this kind of hit me and interrupted it. And in a good way, obviously, I think eventually, but it made me like, I shut down. As soon as I was diagnosed, I just didn't want to do anything. And little by little, I would go to the doctor and she would motivate me. I had a tremendous team of people, just doctors, therapists, people that would meditate with me, like all sorts of people were there willing to help me. And I was very lucky that, I had this inspiration, and every time I would go to the doctor, get a little bit more news, I would get out of bed more, want to write more. And it just kept growing. But it was really hard at first. Like, it's how the title So She Howls came about. I just didn't have it in me to write lyrics or sing, really. So I was just starting to put up a mic and howl. And I just started howling like these sounds. Yeah, like making these sounds with my body that was like, I just don't have the words, or it's just too emotionally challenging for me to write out what I'm feeling into words. But it was there and it came out into these sounds. And I just went with that, I think part of it's like accepting what you can do and what you can't at the moment, and then it just grew and grew. And finally, so the album is in the order of which I was going through things and as I was writing. So by the end, I end up with this song in love where there's lyrics and I can sing fully again. And I just feel like I have my family with me, and I turned the corner on this illness. And so yeah, it was just like, I'm so happy I captured it. It kind of it resonated with my grandmother. Like, I resonated with her because, it just came back. She would say to me, Carla, one day I won't be here. You'll have this. And I thought that this was going to be my last album. I just thought this was what I was going to leave behind. And,
Oh, wow.
so, and then that just kept growing. I like, oh, I'm going to finish this up. And, and I grew all the way to the Grammys and to now, I think it just, I've met so many wonderful people.
I can't thank you guys enough. My beautiful wife, my family, our family's here, these beautiful musicians behind me, my publicist, Katie, and my whole team. Guys, I began writing this album when I was going through breast cancer. And I made it to the other side because of these courageous women who did this experimental trial 30 years ago saved my life. And this is for them. So thank you. Thank you.
You talked about going through that, and you talked about that this album was your journey from beginning to end. But I love the fact that you documented this. I wish everyone would do that. I mean, tell me
Yeah.
about that experience. And of course, we'll have all the links in the show notes and stuff. But I want to talk about what gave you the idea to document the album on YouTube.
I think it was just, at first it started out as like a necessity, like it's like, I just need to do this. I need to get this out of me. And then it was like, well, maybe this can help someone else going through something like this. And at first I wasn't really talking about breast cancer because it really is like it comes back through the stages of grief, similar to what I experienced going through, this illness and with my body. And so there was just a lot of connections there, but it became more about sharing it as my strength grew. I think you can hear like that in my voice, maybe, like a lot of those takes are original takes. I've tried to keep everything as original. So you can hear it. And I didn't replace that because I just thought this is the time, like my voice is not strong and you need to hear that in order to be in that dynamic and that emotional space with me.
Mhm.
And it was true. And I think the momentum of strength building through this is something that I wanted to share.
And I think that there's such a beauty in the raw and in the real. And that's what I love about your album is it's real. And then me learning the story as we try to educate those who are listening today, the story behind it makes it so much more beautiful. And I'm sure that those guys at the Grammys didn't know all that. It was those judges and such. They didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So you were chosen on the incredible work, but the behind the story, I believe, just like the behind the songs here in Nashville, that's what makes it so beautiful. You have a quote, and I love it. When you look back on your journey, you have said, "I've learned to take something horrible and allow it to make me more vulnerable and more alive." Wow. And you did that. And I'm just, I'm getting teary eyed just talking about it, just to hear this and to be able to say not just that, but congratulations on the Grammy win, but more so congratulations for being such a beautiful representation of a breast cancer survivor. And not only do you have this trophy, but you carry a beautiful torch. And I want to talk about that for just a second. The Grammys in 2024, people don't know this, marked a huge change for the LGBTQ plus world. Did it not? It did. And you were part of that, sister. Stephen Dahl of Billboard
wrote an article that blew my mind. With historic wins, LGBTQ artists prove that change is happening at the 2024 Grammys. LGBTQ artists saw huge wins. He went on to talk about Miley Cyrus' record for Flowers, Billie Eilish's song of the year for What Was I Made For, Victoria Monet's Best New Artist win marked the first time in recent memory where 3 LGBTQ artists took home trophies in the evening's main category. But then he went on to say, and we had Carla Patullo winning for Best New Age Ambient or Chant Album, he told Billboard. I felt like we finally have wonderful representation in all genres, and I think it's really important because it's not just about being in pop or in dance. I've never even thought about having an LGBTQ inclusion in the Best New Age category. That is Billboard, girlfriend. Wow. Do you believe that change is indeed happening? And what does that mean for you both as an artist and as a member of the LGBTQ community?
I do. I think there's still work to be done, but I do think people are more comfortable with their identity and who they are and being okay to like not hide it. I hid my sexuality for many years. Yeah. But as an artist, especially in the mainstream world, you're kind of forced into a picture, right? You need to like be this, what the label wants you to be. And I think more people are sticking to their guns. It's like this energy that we're all passing on to each other. Like, I'm doing it, you do it. Like, just be who you are. And we're just tagging each other. Now it's your turn. And I think it's growing. And I think it's really beautiful. And I'm so happy to be a part of it. And I'm excited for people coming up who are doing the same. And it's just getting bigger and it's exciting.
What's next for you?
I'm working on a new album, and it's set in this kind of healing vibes kind of space. So I could say what I'll say, it is inspired by a movie that I mentioned earlier, which is All of Us Strangers. And I just want to like, get through and let things flow and deal with, there's still things pre-cancer. Like I've just dealt with cancer. There's the loss of my mom, which I want to work out more as I go through life. And I just want to share these things that I'm finding with music. And I'm being a real little nerd and kind of learning about isochronic tones and binaural beats and really, really trying to implement these things with these fabulous musicians that I know and just trying to share that experience with people.
I think every day in your life and just getting to know you, I feel you, if that makes sense. I feel your passion. I feel your compassion. I feel the music. And now that I've gotten to know you, I want everyone to get to know your music, but I want everyone to get to know you because I think you are such a special chosen individual. And I'm getting all teary-eyed here, but you are incredible. Your work is incredible. I am so proud of you. And I just want everybody, we're going to have all of the links, the music, everything. And I think there's a book you're going to have to come out with soon. And I just want everyone to get to know you a little bit more. So I sure hope you'll come back.
I definitely will. Oh my God, it's been such an honor to sit with you and chat and get to know you as well. So thank you.
You are so welcome.
You're amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The cancer journey is one of profound challenge, but also of incredible perseverance and inner strength. From the moment of diagnosis, it demands both physical and emotional resilience, often pushing individuals beyond what they believed possible. Yet, it's through this adversity that the true depth of human spirit is revealed. Every step, whether it's enduring treatments or coping with uncertainty or just finding the moments of hope in the darkness, demonstrates unwavering courage. For Carla, motivation became a lifeline, drawn from the love of family and the desire for more moments of joy. Carla's journey of not only survival, but also transformation, where each day and each musical note and howl became a testament to the power of determination and the unbreakable will to keep her moving forward. Congratulations, Carla. We can't wait for what's next.